All right, welcome back everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to upgrade your existing sBitx SD card or USB drive to version 5.0. So starting out, you'll need to download the image from my GitHub releases page, which is in the description below. There is a file that you will download, and it will be sb50.img.exe, and this is a compressed file that contains the sb50.img inside of it. So the way that the Raspberry Pi works is that there's an img file that you need to flash or write to a SD card or a USB drive. And if you are interested in learning how to boot from the USB drive on your sBitx, I will cover that in another video. But in this case, I'm going to show you how I do it with a USB drive. It's not going to be any different than an SD card. So if you were to pop out your SD card from your sBitx and plug it into a USB card, or I'm sorry, an SD card to USB adapter and plug it into your computer, it should show up as a drive letter on the computer and you can follow the same steps. So again, you're going to download this file from my releases page. It goes to my Google Drive folder and you can save it on your computer. The next thing you'll need is an SD card or USB writer. In this case, I'm using Bellina Etcher. You can use Win32 Disk Imager, Rufus. You can use the official Raspberry Pi utility, SD card maker. I don't remember what the name of it's called. So once you've downloaded these files, you're going to open up and you're going to plug in a blank USB drive or SD card that has to be 32 gigabits or larger. So you'll see here that in a compressed format, this is a little over 3 gigs. When it's uncompressed, it's about 13.45. So this is the one that you're going to need your you're going to need your SD card or USB drive to be at least this size. But again, the sBitx comes with the 32-bit SD card installed, so you can use that. Now, once you download this, you can either open it and extract the IMG file and put it in the same folder, or in my case, I'm going to show you how I do it with the compressed file with Bellina Etcher. And of course, I'm using the portable version of Bellina Etcher. It's an older version, but it works for me. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up Bellina Etcher, and in here you're going to get some options. So you can flash from a file, flash from a URL, or clone or drive. So in my case, I'm going to flash from a file, and I apologize you don't see the pop-up here, but I'm selecting the sb50.img.exe file. And you'll notice that it automatically found the IMG file inside of that file. And you'll see that the size here is 13.8 gigs. And the next thing you need to do is step 2 is you need to select either your USB drive or your SD card reader. In my case, I'm using a USB 3.2 PNY 128 gig USB drive. So make sure you select the right one here. You don't want to overwrite any other drives. See, I have a terabyte drive here. It's an external drive that's on my machine. So I'm going to select this one. Just click select. And now I'm going to flash. So if you're using Windows, you may get a pop-up message saying, do you want to allow administrator access to this or allow this to continue. So right now, you can see it's writing the file. It gives me an estimated time when it's going to be completed. And it usually doesn't take too long. I guess it depends on the size of your drive. At the end of this flashing that image over to the card here or the USB drive, it may start a process where it does a validation to, I think it does some sort of checksum validation where it validates the files were written correctly and there wasn't any corruption. If I were you and this is your first time doing this, I would let that continue just to make sure you don't have any issues. So while we're waiting for that, I will talk about, I did release sBitx version 5.0 today, and I know several people are using it already. I want to thank the early adopters testing group that is set up on my Discord for your feedback and your assistance in finding bugs and making this version a success. I'm really happy about it. I know that there probably are certain bugs or additional bugs that are out there that we don't know about, that we haven't discovered yet. But you know, that's the thing with open source software and with a small team of volunteers that are doing this. But I can tell you that the feedback has been good so far, and we have people using it. Now, there have been a couple people that had said that when they installed it and they tried to run the web browser to access the web GUI, that they weren't able to get past the untrusted certificate issue on Safari. So if you're running an iPhone, you may have some problems with it. So I would suggest that if you're unable to go into the Safari browser settings and install the sBitx certificate and trust it, or run it in desktop mode and see if it works for you. If none of those things work, then I would suggest just downloading Google Chrome, Firefox, Brave. I haven't tried Opera, but that might work as well. So any other browser besides Safari, because obviously with the Apple's security controls, they try to limit you from accessing potentially dangerous websites, etc. So they might block fingerprinting scripts, JavaScript, a whole bunch of other things. So if that's the case, again, just download a different browser if you can, and then try to access the web GUI through that. Now, the only thing you really have to do for the first time is, on any other web browser, is you type in sbitx.local. Make sure it's on the same network. The sBitx transceiver is on the same network that your other device is on, where you can go ahead and use the sBitx hotspot that I have on the new image and connect it that way. But when you open it up in the browser, you're going to get a message saying that, you know, this is a untrusted website. Are you sure you want to continue? Well, in this case, you do want to continue. I would not recommend this on just regular general web browsing on unknown websites. But this is a website on a piece of hardware that you own and that you can trust. And that was built by our team. So in that case, when that message pops up, see if you can click allow or continue or trust or proceed. There's, you know, depending on what browser you're using, it may have different terminology. And then at that point, you should be able to continue to the website. You won't get a secure lock in the URL at the top of the screen. You may get some sort of like a red message, or you know, might have a red strike through on HTTPS. That's okay. It is still using the SSL certificate that we generated, but that SSL certificate is self-signed. So that's the reason why you're seeing that message. So once you do that, the website should come up. and it should prompt you to log in. You should see the opening page, sBitx 5.0, and to enter your passcode or passkey. And then once you do that, you'll click start, and then you may get another pop-up on your browser saying, this website wants to access your microphone. Do you want to allow this? So go ahead and click yes, and let it use either the default microphone, built-in microphone in your mobile device, or on your computer, your headset microphone. And then from that point, you're in. So then you can use your local microphone on your smart device or your home computer, laptop, etc., with the sBitx in the upper sideband, lower sideband, and AM modes. Let's see. One of the other issues that I don't know if it's an issue, but it was reported that when someone installed version 5.0 from the PiOS image, they noticed that the screen was dark. So on that image and on all the 64-bit images that have been provided by our group, there's a application on there, or a collective of applications called sBitx Toolbox. And in sBitx Toolbox, there is a tool called screen brightness or brightness. I don't remember the terminology of it. So what you'll want to do if you're on the stock normal display that came with your sBitx, not the touch display 2, you can use that, and you can, if you open it, there's a slider control that you can adjust your brightness. So you can adjust your brightness to maximum brightness, which is the default on the sBitx. Some people have said that it looks a little dim, so you can go in there and you can adjust your brightness. Now, if you're on the touch display 2, there is an option in the menu called brightness control or brightness. I think it's in the accessories menu. And in there, if you open it, it'll say this is for the touch display 2. That is where you would adjust the brightness on the touch display 2. I don't know why it's different, but that's just the way Raspberry Pi did it, and certainly makes it confusing for us. I'm trying to think if there were any other questions or common things that come up. I know in our early testing, there was a different sBitx version 5.0 Pi image that went out to the testing group. And those people that were using that image and trying to put it on a SD card and putting in their sBitx, they said that their bootloader, Raspberry Pi bootloader, threw an error and said it looked like it was corrupt. Now, if that's the case, I haven't heard any reports so far on the version that we're using now, but if that's the case, you can go ahead and stop in our Discord and get assistance from us on there. There are a few things we can do with restoring the bootloader and with RPI, EEPROM update, and some other command line tools. In some cases, you might just want to shut the sBitx off, pull the SD card out or the USB drive, and then reinsert it and try to boot it up again. It may clear up the issue, it may not, but that's definitely another option for you. And again, we just released the software earlier today, and I haven't heard any complaints about it yet. Those complaints did come from people who are using the Raspberry Pi 5 inside their sBitx. I have an Raspberry Pi 5 here, but I do not have provisions right now to put it in my sBitx because I ended up repurposing it for another ham radio project. So I will do some further testing on that and let you guys know what we come up with, and if there's a resolution for that, I may have to put out a hot fix or a patch that needs to be installed. Or worst case scenario, I might have to redo the sBitx PiOS image and redistribute it out to you guys. And again, I am just talking right now because you can see that this writing a SD card can take some time. And right now we're at about 78% done flashing it. Estimated time left is approximately 2 minutes. It keeps bouncing around here, but unfortunately I'm not going to boot up my sBitx right now because this is the card that's in my sBitx. So if you bear with me a little bit here for a couple more minutes, we'll get to the next step here. And I can show you what to do next. So for the sake of time in this video, I'm going to skip the right or checksum checks, the to make sure that the image is valid, because I know it is and I can always redo it. I do see a comment in the chat here, Charlie. Yeah, the patch for the RxTX control. Again, because the sBitx or the xBitx, which you have, requires different hardware. We have to basically take our sBitx software and then we have to patch it to make it work with the xBitx/sBitx. So that will come in time. Our goal was to get the sBitx version 5.0 out to sBitx users, since that's really where the most of our customer base or user base is. Of course, the sBitx was released a couple months ago, and I know people are still getting them now. There are certainly a number of problems with that platform, but we're hoping to get our development team to work on that as time permits. Right now, our volunteer development team, thanks to HS Signals, they were able to send us 3 units that we can use to assist with development on that platform. I do want to get that converted over to 64-bit and obviously fix a bunch of the common issues that people seem to be having on the groups.io site and on our Discord page. All right, so now here it's validating. I'm gonna go ahead and skip this. I would recommend you do not skip that. So let's go ahead and close all these multiple windows that pop up here. So you don't see those on your end, but I just got a bunch of pop-ups saying, hey, your drive is here. Do you need to reformat this drive? And your drive's not formatted. So go ahead and click cancel on all those when you do get those pop-ups, especially if you're on Windows, because you do not want to reformat the drive again. The reason why is because Windows does not recognize the format of the file format and the what do you call it? I don't remember. Anyways, it doesn't understand those, so it thinks that the drive's unformatted, so it can't read the directory structure. So just go ahead and cancel that. So at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to take out your SD card, or in my case, my USB drive. I'm going to eject it from the computer. So if you're running Windows 10, 11, you would go in and go to your drive letter and select eject, and then go ahead and place it into your sBitx and go ahead and power it up. So at that point, the sBitx may take a little longer to boot on the first try because it has to reconfigure everything and expand the drive and do all the fun stuff. You may have to reboot it twice, but after that, you should be good to go. Once you boot up the sBitx, it should launch the sBitx application, and you're off to the races. So, and again, if you have any questions, any comments, or want to join our Discord community, you're more than welcome to. The link is in the description. If you want to support our group, our development group, the volunteers that have put hundreds and thousands of hours into improving the software, there is a donate button on our GitHub page that you can go ahead and check out, and we do definitely appreciate that. So thanks again, everyone, for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next video. 7 3s.